trafficking. It's a pleasure for me to be here in Vienna today, among such a distinguished and determined congregation of experts and activists, to pledge my support, exchange ideas, and share experiences in the fight against human trafficking. I would like to begin by commending the sponsors and organizers of this forum for their efforts in formulating such a rich and comprehensive agenda for debate and action. It underscores the enormous challenge presented upon us by this complex, multidimensional, and ever-increasing scourge for human trafficking. For human trafficking, as we all know, is so much more than a form of criminal activity. What we are dealing with here, as we have just heard, is a global phenomenon, a pervasive cancer which undermines the safety and security of all our nations. It is a form of modern-day slavery, a global health risk, and one of the gravest sources of human rights abuses of our time. And despite the efforts of so many individuals and organizations around the world who are working tirelessly to combat this illicit trade, the problem keeps growing in severity and magnitude, breaking the spirit and burning the lives of all those that it touches. The statistics that are available to us paint an alarming picture of the reality of the problem. I myself was shocked when I first heard that almost 3 million people are lost every year amidst the intricate web of this deceptive underground industry, a market of human lives which makes an annual profit of over $32 billion for its shady entrepreneurs. Human trafficking is indeed considered to be a low-risk and lucrative criminal enterprise, and that's what is making it so hard to control. Within this context, traffickers are operating skillfully through labor market regimes, utilizing the discrepancies that occur between different national, legal, and financial systems, and adapting effectively to the pace of globalization. They are making the most of advances in information and communication technologies and exploiting loopholes in national migration policies. In this regard, I recently read that in some countries it has contributed to leaving entire villages without women. These are not isolated cases. Human trafficking affects us all in different scales and dimensions. It impacts all our countries, destination, transit, and origin, based on the economic principle of supply and demand, whereby individuals, especially women and children, are pushed and pulled from one destination to another at the rate of market prices. How can we tolerate this state of affairs, where human beings are treated as profitable commodities and defined in terms like expandable, reusable, and resaleable? How can we allow so many children to be kidnapped and exploited, abducted for use in armed forces, or sold into domestic servitude? How can we conceive that so many women today suffer a life of forced labor, pornography, and sexual abuse, losing their freedom and compromising their human dignity? Behind these alarming statistics that are available are stories of people who reach out to illegal channels as a way to escape from conflicts and difficult socio-economic conditions such as poverty, unemployment, lack of education, the breakdown of their social networks, and in many cases, a history of discrimination and gender-based violence. It is, in fact, this absence of human security that defines the root causes of human trafficking worldwide and provides its perpetrators with an endless reservoir of disadvantaged, disenfranchised, and disillusioned people from which to draw profit. Accordingly, I believe it is the responsibility of every country to accelerate its efforts in putting in place effective initiatives which focus on eliminating these root causes through an integrated and holistic approach. We need to strengthen our respective reform efforts with social policy measures to support and protect vulnerable groups, giving them the power and incentives to avoid all forms of exploitation that might lead to trafficking. In Egypt, we are working very hard to align our vision against human trafficking with our long-standing efforts to empower and meet the humanity security needs of our communities. In the past, our efforts tended to focus on dealing with incidents of transit through our territory en route to neighboring countries. Today, in spite of the relative limited scale of the problem in Egypt, we have now moved on to tackle comprehensively all dimensions of the problem, developing protective structures and reinforcing our legal system with specific legislations against